everybody, and welcome to episode 35 of the Paper Crane Yarns Knitting Podcast. My name is Ashley, and I am a yarn dyer and yarn store owner located in central Alabama, USA, and I'm coming to you today from my yarn store, which is also called Paper Crane Yarns, and you can find us at papercraneyarns.com. We are Paper Crane Yarns on Instagram, Ravelry, Facebook, you name it. It's Paper Crane Yarns. And I say we because I am, of course, the business owner here, but my husband is definitely an invaluable member of my team, so to speak. So every time I say we, I feel a little bit awkward, like I'm talking about myself in the plural, but what I mean is my husband and myself. But anyway, so this is a knitting podcast. And I also have some cross stitch to share with you today. I just recently started taking up cross stitch. I just got back this week, in fact, from the Nashville Needlework Market, which was amazing. It was like a wholesale/retail expo for cross stitch because I am branching out into bringing cross stitch supplies into my little shop here. So that was quite an event to throw myself into. I feel like the cross stitchers here probably are well aware. I only learned about it myself a few weeks ago, and I was very fortunate to get to go. I had so much fun. Everybody was great. Anyway, I'll talk about that maybe a little bit at the end. But of course, I wanted to talk about my knitting today. So in my last episode, I did a little giveaway for a skein of yarn and a pattern to go along with it. So in this video, I will be drawing the winner for the Moon River giveaway. So the winner will receive one skein of Paper Crane Yarns Blueface Leicester sock, and this is my Moon River colorway. You'll receive skeins and the Moon River socks pattern by Gabriella of Merriweather Knitting, Merriweather Living here on YouTube and Ravelry. And so then you can make your own. So I've just used a random comment picker to select the winner for the yarn. I went ahead and drew the winner before I started. And I will put a screenshot here of that person's username and their comment. But the username is BarbBrown6746. And the comment says, Moon River is the color I have been searching for. New to your channel and have been loving it. And I really appreciate that. Moon River is a colorway I'm really proud of. So so thank you for that, Barb. And I hope that you enjoy your sock and your pattern. Your sock. So I hope you enjoy the skein of yarn and the pattern. And if you would, please send me an email at papercraneyarns@gmail.com. That way I can get in contact with you and make sure that I send that to you and get you a copy of the pattern as well. So again, please email me if that is you. So I have quite a bit to talk about and probably not enough time to do it. So I think this will end up being in two parts. It's actually the end of my workday on a Thursday. I haven't recorded on a day like this in a long time. My husband picked up my daughter, who I bring to work every day. So I have a little bit of time, but the sun is setting, so I think we'll have to do a couple parts. But I wanted to get started because I have so much to talk about. So first, I'm going to start with my finished objects. I have 3 finished objects today. 2 are knitting and 1 is cross stitch. I'll start with the knitting, and the cross stitch is small, so we'll kind of be quick with that. But I wanted to be sure to show you my 2 knitted FOs. So these are both test knits, actually. And if you're familiar with me as a knitter, I really, really love the Doodle patterns by Pacific Knit Co. or Jamie Lomax. And I have test knit now 3 or 4 of these doodles. I really love them. So tomorrow, there's a new pattern coming out for the baking doodle cowl. And of course, I couldn't pass up this test knit call. So I did my kind of old familiar. I did the infinity cowl, which is what I've done every time. But this time I made it a few inches shorter, and rather than grafting with a twist like I normally do, I grafted it just circularly. So no twist in this cowl. I kind of wish, now I'm glad I've done both so that I know what I like, but I kind of wish that I would have grafted it with the twist, but that's neither here nor there. So if you're not familiar with the Doodle cowl or the Doodle patterns, essentially Jamie, the designer, gives you a recipe for the finished object, in this case, a cowl, and then you receive all kinds of colorwork charts that correspond with the theme. So we've got a Rhinebeck cowl, there's autumn, spring, fall, summer, and there's things like ocean doodle, there's a new one in test knitting that's jungle doodle cowl, and she recently told us that in April she'll be doing a test knit call for a farm doodle cowl, which you know I'm going to apply for. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. I used all scraps for this project, and I kind of wanted to just get it on and off the needles because it was a test knit and I have a lot going on. So there were a couple of sections, like in the beginning I felt really good about my color choices, but as I went along, I kind of wished that I had made some different choices. And what was funny was when I was knitting it, I sort of recognized that there were two sections I wasn't really happy with. And while I was knitting it, I should have just ripped it out, but I decided to keep going. And I could still go in and do it, but I'm not going to. I'd rather knit a whole new one from scratch. But the section that I don't really love is my oven. So I am not happy with this bright orange background. The rest of this doodle is, while we have the neon pink, I was trying to make that like a running element through the cowl. I don't love this sudden pop of bright orange. I wish that I would have done a white background to mimic the hand mixer. But it's cute nonetheless, and as I said, I could always make more. This was the chart that I started with, were these little chocolate chip cookies. I think this is really cute. And then I did the mixer because I really loved that one. I think I meant to do the stand mixer. I don't know where my head was when I was making this doodle cowl. When I was done, I kind of sat back and thought that it wasn't like exactly what I had in mind, and that's completely my fault. I think I was just kind of rushing myself through this project, which I should have just slowed down and enjoyed it and made more deliberate choices about my chart choices, but still, I still love this pattern. So I love my little hand mixer. We've got the chocolate chip cookies. There's frosting. These are cupcakes, but it's kind of low contrast. But now that I've told you it's cupcakes, I'm sure you can see it. And then we have the oven, and these are pies. This is another one where I wish I would have done a different background color so that the pies could stand out better. This is a piping bag, and then this is a beautiful cake. That's pretty much it. So fewer charts, it's a smaller circumference than I usually do. I kind of wanted to change things up and see how I felt about this one versus the other cowls that I've done. And I definitely prefer the cowls that have a few more inches and the twist. But I'm still happy that this is done. This is all DK weight yarn from my stash, and it's a combination of paper crane yarns, merino DK, Darnaceous Fibers Bronto DK, and there's a little bit of Sadness Garn Double Sunday, this like beigey color that I had laying around in the shop. So that's my first finished object. And again, this pattern is coming out tomorrow. So by the time this video is up, the pattern will be out. And I hope that you'll go and take a look at everybody's projects and maybe pick up the pattern for yourself. So my next finished object is a garment. You'll notice I'm not wearing any knitwear today. I have on a really cute Stardew Valley jumper corduroy dress. I love this. I just got this, and this shirt's a little bit too big, but yeah, no knitwear today, although I am making something. I will be making something to go under this jumper, but for now I just have this in my closet. But it's 75 degrees outside today, and I've been working, so I didn't want to wear knitwear today, but I will insert photos of me wearing this next finished object so that you can see how gorgeous it is. But look, let's just start with this lace pattern. So this is called the Adriata top by Locatelli, or Adriata, perhaps you could say, and it's very beautiful. It's a little bit wrinkly because I wore it tucked into a skirt, and I wore it tucked into a skirt recently in the pictures that you're going to see. This is knit out of 100% linen, and it's so beautiful. You can see that it's very drapey and lovely. And this is Erika Night Studio linen, which I carry here in my shop. I have 3 colorways to choose from. It's a DK weight linen. It's made out of 85% recycled linen and 15% premium linen. So I suppose that's new linen, but it's very beautiful. I picked this beigey color to knit the sample out of so that the lace pattern would come through really well. And I wasn't sure how wearable this would be for me because I don't wear a lot of beige, but it is a little bit more of like a wet sand color, like something in between a gray and a brown. So I actually think the color is really nice and it looks good with black. So I can wear it with a black skirt or I could wear it with jeans. Can't get over how beautiful this lace design is. And it runs around the armhole, so it goes over the shoulder. And it's just really, really pretty. So again, this is a test knit, and I can't remember the day that this pattern is coming out. Hohi ran this test knit a little bit differently than some other designers I've test knit for. She didn't give us, as far as I can recall, she didn't give us like a Ravelry project number to put in like our test, like a test code, which will establish a project page so that when the pattern comes out, your project shows up. She didn't give us that as far as I could tell. So I'll have to go in and create a project page once this pattern is published. But this took a little over 3 skeins of the yarn, and I knit the size 2. So it's just right around my bust, and there's definitely a little bit of positive ease in the body, but I knit mine a little bit extra long so that it would tuck nicely into a skirt. I kind of figured that's mostly how I would wear it. And the armholes, there's no finishing on the armhole. She does mention in the pattern that you can replicate the finishing you see here on the neckline, but I felt like the armhole was just right. It looks very neat, and I didn't think it needed any finishing. I do know that some of the testers did do this I-cord kind of finishing that we added on the neckline that gave it this little bit of a rolled hem. I'm pretty sure it was I-cord. No, I can't remember. So I did see that, and I still prefer the look of this. I think my edges came out really nice and neat, so I didn't feel that was necessary. But anyway, this is a beautiful top for the summertime and the spring, and that's the #1 thing that was missing from my handmade wardrobe. I have never dedicated any amount of time to making tank tops. So if you caught my last episode, I just made the Oolong tank by Amy Scher, and now I've just knit this one. So I've got 2 tank tops in my wardrobe to choose from, which is really excellent. And I'm excited to have some handmade stuff to wear in the summer and spring. I think that the drape, is just beautiful. I'm very excited at the possibility of making a second one or just making another top in this yarn specifically. I had never knit with just linen before, and while it was sort of dry in my hands, as people will say, and it didn't have that same sort of flexibility that wool has, I still found it to be very comfortable and satisfying to work with. So I really enjoyed the experience. This fabric is extremely cooling, so in my hands, it's like way colder than the ambient temperature of the room. So I think this will be really nice this summertime. Again, I'm in Alabama. It's very hot here. I think this will be really nice to wear. And yeah, I'll get a lot of use out of this. I'm just very happy with this one. So, and I did not mention, but this yarn comes in 50-gram skeins. So again, I used slightly over 3 skeins. So I would say probably 160 grams or so. I need to take a final weight of it, but very lovely. And for blocking, that was something new for me. I wasn't sure exactly how I would go about blocking since I'm used to blocking wool and animal fibers. I decided not to give it a wet block because I had a feeling it wouldn't make a big difference. What I did instead was I hung it on my shower rod and I did a steam block with a little handheld steamer. And yeah, I felt like that was the perfect way to block this. So I think that will be how I maintain this. If it needs a wash, I could do a hand wash, but as far as drying it and blocking it and all that goes, I think all it needs is a little steam and a hang. That's my Adriata top. So my next little finished object is cross stitch. And again, I'll be quick in case you're not here for this, but it's too cute. I don't think anybody could not love this, right? It is an adorable little chicken. You can see I have a thing. This chart was a pattern from, I think it's Mama Stitch Witch or something like that. I'll have it linked below. And the chart didn't seem to really have a name. It was on Etsy and it had a lot of different names in the description. So again, I'll have this linked below. But how precious is this little guy? It's just a little hen with 2 chicks, and there's branches, and these little motifs kind of look like eggs, so I thought that was cute. And then there is a lot of this back stitching that you can see to do these twigs. And I wasn't sure how that would go. I've never done that before, but it was very easy, and it kind of felt like very customizable. So I thought that I did a nice job on that. And then I finished this little thing in a tiny hoop. It's faux wood, so it's actually plastic, and it's very durable, and this is in there very securely. So I'm going to take this home and hang it on my wall. We have like a cottagecore kind of aesthetic in our home, so I think this will be perfect. And we actually have pet chickens. We're about to get ducks, which is super exciting. My husband just finished making our duck pond, so I'm very excited to get our ducks. But this is just stitched on black Aida with DMC. So it's nice and simple. I've got plenty of the materials left over if I wanted to maybe make one as a gift, or a lot of her charts, her patterns kind of seem to use similar colors, so I probably have the right DMC in my stash to make another one, or to at least get started. That's finished object number 3. So now we'll move into works in progress. I'm going to start with a gorgeous new cast on that I haven't shown you guys yet. After I recorded last, I guess it was the end of February, the team at Knit and Craft Toronto, which is Claudia Quintanilla. So Claudia Quintanilla, who is a pattern designer, she and her team reached out to me and asked me if I would participate in their knit along that they had coming up in March to kind of celebrate a new design from Claudia. And I, of course, said yes. I was honored that they would ask me, and they even suggested that I make some kits in my yarn to offer in the shop. So I did, and I just released the kits last night. At the time that I'm recording this, I have 5 left. I have 2 different colorway options, and yeah, I'll show those momentarily. But this pattern is called Azucena by Claudia Quintanilla, and she designed this because she is going to be a guest speaker at the Chilean Yarn Festival this year. So I'm very excited for her, and I think this design is gorgeous. I love the way it's looking on the camera. It's really coming across as beautifully as I hoped in this color palette that I designed. So the Azucena is a flower. It's the Chilean lily, essentially. It's a beautiful flower, and I will try to put up a picture or something of it. But Claudia's story is that she visited Chile, and she, I guess, saw an abundance of the Azucena, and she was inspired to make a design. And I thought that was beautiful. So the kits that I dyed, I did 2 colorway choices. Her original sample is knit in like a yellow gold with white here as the contrast. So for kit number 1, I'm calling this my Dahlia kit, and it is a combination of my dried poppies colorway for the main color and my rose clay colorway for the color work. This pattern is double-stranded, so you're holding a fingering weight and a lace mohair throughout. Here are like my fingering weight and lace mohair of the rose clay. And here's a little ball of the dried poppies colorway because, my dear friends, I got a little head start on the cowl. This actually starts tomorrow. The knit along starts March 8th. So it'll be up and running by the time this video comes out, but it goes until May 3rd. So if you order a kit, you still have plenty of time to receive it. I'll ship it right away and get started with us. She has a Ravelry thread where you can post your project photos, And I do believe there will be prizes. I'm not entirely sure, but I think she normally does prizes, and she did say there would be some surprises. So I think maybe, but you can check her Ravelry thread, which I'll link below. And you can get this pattern for 50% off if you use the discount code on Ravelry, paper Azucena, which I'll have here. I keep thinking it's papel Azucena, but it's paper Azucena. So again, I'll have it here on the screen. You can use that to get 50% off of the pattern. And I do have to say thank you to Claudia because they sent me this pattern for free to join the knit along. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm just so excited to participate. So I got a head start so that I could take sample photos of the kit. Yesterday morning, I finished the entire yoke. I got all the way through the colorwork chart. I guess I hadn't done the back short rows yet, so I was done with the chart. I was feeling really good about it, and I thought, you know, let me just count my stitches. Well, I was off by 60-something stitches. I couldn't believe that I had made such a mistake because, not to say I never make mistakes, but that's a big one. I couldn't believe I was missing 60 stitches. So of course, I counted repeatedly, thinking surely I just lost count along the way. And no, I only had 216 or something like that. I was very disappointed in myself. So the first thing I did was I went back through the pattern. I kind of ascertained where it went wrong. And I realized that in the chart, this has to be what happened. There are rows where you're doing make one left increases. And most of the rows, you're supposed to do 2 increases per chart repeat. And I think I must have only done 1. So I would have only increased, you know, half as many stitches per row as was indicated, and then multiply that by how many rows had the increases. So anyway, I know what I did wrong. I don't know how, but I just ripped it back, and I ripped it back until right here. So that was right before the first increase row where you have the 2 increases per chart repeat. I picked up all those stitches and then I just got to work again. So now I'm almost done with the chart. I'm about to finish this little motif, and then there's one more larger one, and then this part will be done. But isn't this just gorgeous? I'm really excited to wear this. I don't want to touch my microphone, but I'll kind of hold it up. I think it's going to be very lovely. I think the color is a good match for me. I wasn't sure, but seeing it here, I think it will look very nice. So I'm looking forward to this. I really am. I'm so glad they asked me, because otherwise I may not have made time this year to make this pattern, and that would have been a huge mistake because this is going to be a beautiful piece for my wardrobe. And I decided for making these kits that I would kind of elevate the yarns that I used. So of course it's my silk mohair, which is already a luxurious thing to knit with, right? But for the fingering weight, instead of doing my typical merino nylon, which is kind of like my go-to fingering weight yarn because it sells well, I guess, I decided to bring in a new base, and it's a base that a lot of people love. It's merino cashmere nylon, or MCN, and I've had it before, but I've never carried it in my shop, so I decided to order it, and so that's what you're holding throughout this pattern. I have to say, this feels like just kittens. Like, this is so velvety and plush. I think it's kind of coming across like you can really see how gorgeous this is. So anyway, I'm very excited about this knit, and there's still time to join us if you would like to. There's plenty of time to join this knit along. Like I said, I do still have a couple of kits left in my shop. I didn't dye a lot of kits because this is a really huge financial investment for me to order all of the yarn and create kits and then kind of hope that they sell. So I ordered kind of as much yarn as I could, and like financially, and then I created kits from what I had. So for the Dahlia kit, I think I'm sold out of the smaller size kit, but I have a couple of the larger size kits, and the only difference is the larger size kit comes with 1 extra skein each of the MCN and silk mohair main color and the MCN silk mohair. No, they all the kits only have 1 skein each of the contrast, like MCN and silk mohair, but the smaller kits have 3 skeins each of the MCN and silk mohair main color, whereas the larger kits have 4 skeins each. That seemed crazy to me at first when I was building the kits, but I went off of the yardage information that Claudia presents in the pattern. And what it actually is, I think, is the smaller sizes will end up having more leftovers, but the bigger sizes will kind of use up the majority of the yarn, if that makes sense. So anyway, if you are wanting to knit an extra large or bigger, then I have kits left for that, for the Dahlia colorway. Or if you wanted to knit a smaller size, you could still get the larger kit, but you'll have some yarn left over, and maybe you could make like a matching accessory. But I also have the Moon River option, which I did bring to show. Since I'm not knitting a sample of this yet, I kind of want to make a second one. But this is the Moon River kit, and I think it's stunning personally. So it's a little bit inspired by the original sample, but instead of that goldish orangey yellow main color, it's my Moon River colorway, which is like a greeny yellow color. And then the contrast is my origami colorway, which is an undyed yarn in the same bases. So I hope that you love this as much as I do. I think this will be a stunning Azucena worked up. I can't wait to hopefully see somebody work this up into an Azucena. So yeah, those kits are available on my website. And I should also mention, there is an optional embellishment that you can do at the end. I don't know yet if I'll do it to mine because I kind of like the way it looks, but in the original sample, they include some tiny little pearl beads in, I think, all of the centers of the little motifs, and they have you stitch them in with like a metallic embroidery thread. So it kind of just gives a little bit of extra pop. You don't have to do that. Those things do not come with the kit, but you can find them at like a local craft store. If I was to do it with this, I think I would do like a rose gold kind of colorway for the beads and the thread. So I may get some of those things and just do a couple here and there and see what I think. But yeah, that's my Azucena. I will likely have this finished by the next time I record because I love it. I can't put this one down. I've knit it twice at this point, and I'm still just having a great time with it. So I'm going to talk now about my Cloudbow pullover. This is a pattern by Reed Keys, and this pattern can be found in a Pom Pom magazine. I believe it's issue 40. I'll have it linked below. I think I read on my last video a comment saying that somebody went and purchased that magazine so that they could have it, and I'm glad you did because it is like my favorite Pom Pom ever. And as you guys probably know, Pom Pom has gone out of business, so I'm not sure how long you'll be able to buy their digital pattern books, but if you like this pullover or any of their other patterns, you might want to see if you can still purchase that pattern book before it goes away. So kind of the same issue as when I showed it last time. The lighting is sort of blowing out the color. It's something that looks a lot better in person, but it is a very faint, there's very faint neon things in here. I guess we could call them speckles, but it's more like splotches. But overall with the lights, it kind of is giving like, it doesn't quite look the same. I will try to insert a photo that shows a close-up of the fabric in natural lighting, so that way you can get a better idea of all the beautiful colors in here. But, so again, this is the Cloudbow pullover. The last time I showed this, I think I had just started on the first sleeve, maybe. And the yarn for this is called Scranton What by Treehouse Knits from the Office collection that they recently did. The light is really messing with me here. Maybe I'll just try to show this. There you can kind of see all those colors in there. So this has been a very simple knit. The construction, at first I was like, what am I doing here? But then it made sense, and now I'm just on the body. So I kind of like that this pattern has you knit both of the sleeves first, and so then when you get done with the body, which honestly is taking a while, you're just kind of done. The only thing I have left to do besides the body is pick up at the neckline and knit a little, like a little garter or like a little stockinette cuff that I'll roll over and sew down, and that'll give it a nice finishing and bring in the neckline a bit. But again, this construction was fun. So you knit two stockinette rectangles flat, and then you join them when you do a little bit of shaping here, like at the sleeve cap. And so then anyway, eventually these two rectangular panels become the front and the back. And then you kind of do this little nonsense to pick up the stitches around and you knit your sleeves. So the sleeves, there are no decreases. They're big and voluminous, but this fabric is very sheer. So I think that's going to look really nice, especially when I block it out and it opens up. I really don't think right now the camera is doing justice to this pattern, but then the other fun thing is, so this is like a peplum style top, and I should mention this can also be knit as a dress. And the original sample is also knit in stripes, but I'm just doing one solid color. Although part of me wishes I would have implemented stripes to kind of bring out some of those really neon colors, but no big deal, not going back. So I'm in the part right now where I'm knitting sort of the peplum body. I have quite a ways to go. This is honestly feeling like it's taking me a long time. Even though, like, I could have finished this because looking around at all my other projects, I've done a lot of knitting. I could have certainly finished this, but I'm not enjoying the knitting process because it's just stockinette, but it's the single strand of silk mohair on 6.5 millimeter needles, or US 10.5. That's the size. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for me. I really prefer small gauge needle knitting. It's like I can't really get into a good rhythm with this because I'm constantly, like, it probably looks like I'm knitting, fast, and I am, but it's not in like my comfort zone, if that makes sense. So I don't want to sit down and put in long stretches of work on this to just get the stockinette body down. And this is part of why it's like I'm having to shove the stitches down off of where, it tapers onto the larger part of the needle. And the silk mohair, it's a bit resistant because there's not really stretch in that silk, and it's very fine and the gauge is very loose. So it's just one of those things where I could knit on it, but it's just not very fun. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. But I know that the finished object is going to be really nice, so I'm excited to have it. My thought was that I would wear this in July. I'm going to see the Stardew Valley concert. I'm so excited. It's a symphony and it's called Festival of Seasons, but it's the Stardew songs performed by a symphony or an orchestra, and I can't wait. So I'm thinking I'll wear this, and I was kind of thinking I'd wear this underneath, but we'll see because the peplum might make it look strange, so I don't know. So I'm debating on if I'll wear this or not because it's also my anniversary celebration with my husband, and we only have one night, so I don't think I'll have an opportunity to wear both. I'm figuring that out. Many moons away right now, but yeah, that's my Cloudbow. Lots of knitting has been done on this. I need to finish it. So the next work in progress I will show you is something a little simple, but worth showing. One of them is finished. Mostly, I've got to weave in, I think, one more end. This is a pair of socks that I've just been kind of working on here and there. Just, the stockinette knitting. These are just vanilla socks, so very basic, nothing to it. I finished this first one while I was away in Nashville this past weekend. This was like my hotel and travel knitting. When I was at the Nashville Needlework Market, I was walking around knitting on this while I was buying stuff to bring to the shop. And yeah, I finished this. So this yarn is Knit Picks Felici in the Mango Lassi colorway. And for the contrast heel, I used some leftover Stress Knits eucalyptus on her favorite base. I was going to use this on the toe as well, but I didn't bring it with me on the trip, so I just finished it with the self-striping yarn. And it's kind of like, all right, it's getting dark outside, so I might have to go in a minute, but it's just kind of finished with just a couple of rows of transitioning to the cream color. But otherwise, that's finished. And I have a good bit of the second sock done. And as of right now, they are matching, so that's kind of fun. The two balls were pretty much identical starting out, so that was nice. So yeah, I think I'll end up with matching self-striping socks, which is pretty cool. Yeah, they look perfect so far. They even both have this tiny little spot in the cast-on edge where there's just a hint of that prior color that didn't make it into the cast on or into the ribbing. So yeah, they're working out perfectly. So I just did like the ribbed cuff until I did 3 stripes. You probably can't see, but this is 2 different oranges. So I did 2x2 ribbing in 3 different color stripes. And then I guess I'm going down to the cream before, or the light blue, and then doing my heel. These are 64 stitch count socks. This is just the same kind of vanilla sock that I always do. But yeah, I'm excited to have a bright pair of socks. This will be nice, I guess, for spring. I recently jumped onto this little, I think, trend. I don't know if I can put my foot up. I have like fake Birkenstocks. I've been wearing them a lot, and I think they look cute with hand knit socks, especially over tights. So it'll be fun to have kind of a spring pair for the days that are still a little bit cool. So that's a pair of socks that I've been working on. Okay, I have not showed this one in a while because I hadn't been working on it, but now I finally put in a little work, and you'll have to forgive me for all of the ends that are still needing to be woven in. I was working on this a lot, and my goal was to actually finish it. I thought I will just power through and knit nothing else, but then, you know, things happened, and I had test knits that came up and this and that. So I put it to the side again, but I will pick it back up now that I've finished those 2 test knits, and I only have 1 current test knit. And again, I'm sorry about the ends. They'll be gone soon. This is my Geogradient shawl, which was the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along from 2023. This was my 3rd year doing the knit along, and I really love this one. So I started this when I was, of course, recording Vlogtober last year, and so you can, if you are curious, you want to go back and see kind of my highs and lows with this pattern, you're welcome to, but I'm very happy with where it's ended up. So as you may know, the center square was clue 1, and mine is modified from the original version, which is no longer the official version. So the modification that I went with is by the Ravelry user, Miss Blaine. I really appreciated her notes, and I think it looks really cute. I have clue 2 done, which is these like eyelet rows and garter on both sides. And then clue 3 is this in this wing. This is one of my most favorite things I've ever knit. I have to say, I really hate knitting it. I do, because it's very, I like tedious, and I like work that encourages me to really think about it. But this is one of those slip stitch designs where you knit and knit and knit, and it doesn't grow. So even though this is a very short section, and it even tapers, so it feels like, you know, it should get faster, it felt like it took me a long time. But I do think the effect is gorgeous. I have been looking forward to having this because that's been my favorite part of all of the Geogradient shawls that I've seen. So I'm excited to see it come to life here with mine. And so where I left off, I just started on the second side. So I have a lot to go. Maybe this part doesn't actually take as long as I feel. I put this down for so many months that I guess, I don't know, maybe this part will go faster. And then I've got clue 4 left. But I think it's beautiful. It's very colorful. These yarns, I forgot to mention, are Pearl Soho Linen Quill. And the colorways I used are Peony Pink, which is the pale color. This one is, I do this every time. I can't remember. I think it's Neon Peach. Did I just make that up? My Ravelry page has all of the information, and I probably have the colorways listed below as well. I'm really forgetting. I know that this pink is Pink Pop, right? So there's 4 colorways, and again, they'll be down below. But it's very bright. I'm really happy with this one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having this. So my next work in progress, yes, I have another one. I have a couple more actually. This next work in progress is a present, a gift. So Kira, if you happen to be watching this, and I will have texted you this, but if you happen to be watching this, go ahead and turn off the video now because you may not see this yet. So my best friend Kira is getting married this year to a really lovely man, and I couldn't be more ecstatic for them. I'm one of her maid of honors, so she has selected 2 maid of honors, which I think is beautiful. And then there's three other bridesmaids in the party. And I've never been to a wedding. So I've been to my wedding, which was, it was a beautiful little wedding, and I had a real dress and everything, but I requested to get married in my mother and father-in-law's house, because they have a beautiful house and they have this lovely staircase. They built the house. They have a lovely staircase that comes down into the living room, and there's a giant fireplace. And I thought it would be a beautiful setting for a wedding. And from my personal feeling is I didn't want to spend money on a wedding. It just wasn't important to me. So I have never really gone to like a wedding. But she's having like a real, one of the big party weddings, which I think is fun. So it'll be a new experience for me. And I just can't help myself. I want to make her all the gifts. So I'm working on two things. I have a knitted work in progress here. And then I'm also going to fold her 1,000 white paper cranes. I have not started. I need to. But this first project is a wedding shawl that I'm knitting for her. And to preface, since this is a surprise, I do not expect her to wear this when she's getting married. If she chooses to, that's amazing, and I will be over the moon with happiness. But I'm thinking this will be more just something she can have as a keepsake. Maybe she can take photos with it, but it's up to her what she's going to wear during the wedding. So I'm going to make sure she knows when I give her this, that there's no expectation. I just want her to have this beautiful, very, wedding. You'll see what I mean. So it's bunched up on needles. It's a little hard to see, but I'll have inserted a photo here of the beautiful shawl. And then there are some wedding photos with it too that I'm going to show her, and I think that she can really appreciate them. But this is called the Lace Eater Mashup Shawl. And here you can kind of see that lace coming through. This is all charted lace. So you start out in the pattern with a garter tab sort of cast on. And at first I was second guessing if I was knitting it correctly. And I was, but it was in a bit of a peculiar way. So you start out with just a few stitches, but then with your garter tab cast on, you end up doing this lengthwise sort of cast on, which was unique to me. I'd never done that before in that way. And then you end up with these really pretty little eyelets that run across the whole top. So I think that the fact that there's that continuity, that it really does go across the whole top, makes it look very cohesive. And then you have this beautiful stockinette panel before you enter into all the lace charts. And there are 5 or 6 lace charts. I'm right at the end of the second one. And yeah, I just think it's going to be beautiful. The yarn is Malabrigo Silk Paca, so it's a lace weight yarn, and it is very beautiful. So it's a silk and alpaca yarn. It's very soft, and there's a very slight sheen to it. It feels amazing. I think this will be a beautiful gift. Getting married or not, I just think gifting this will be very special. But the drape on it is lovely, and I think it would look beautiful with just in a wedding setting. It's very bridal. So yeah, I will of course share this as it grows, but the wedding is in November, and I didn't want to wait until the last minute to knit this. So I'm glad that I got a head start, and now I have a feel for the pattern, and it's definitely not as difficult as I thought it could be. But yeah, I'm glad I got a nice head start, and I can't wait to block it out. I think it's going to be so pretty. So that's the Lace Eater Mashup Shawl. I'll have put the designer on the screen because I can't remember their name. So I have 2 more works in progress that are knitting and crochet. I am almost done with the quilt, but I haven't had a chance to pick it up since I last showed it. And I'm in the quilting process, so I just need to sit down and have the time to work on it. I also haven't been able to spin at all since I last recorded. I'm going to change that in the next few weeks, but right now, no spinning to show you. So I'm going to show you another new cast on. This one's very exciting. So Alicia Plummer is doing a mystery knit along for a shawl, and it started on the 5th, so 2 days ago. It is called the Patchwork Cowl, and I'm going to show it. I'm done with clue 1, so if you are knitting this and you don't want to see it yet, then skip ahead a few minutes to miss it. But honestly, it's not like a lot to look at. So even if you see it, I don't think it'll be a big deal. But this is a 4-color sport weight mystery knit along, and I'm going to show it now. So I'm making mine out of Cascade 220 Sport. This is the non-superwash. I chose to use this yarn because it's inexpensive and I had a little bit of this color in my stash. So I kind of wanted to go off of that. And then I also had another color in my stash. So I kind of wanted to use a little stash and then order a couple of extras. So these 2 colors are new. And then the pink and this dark green are the ones I already had in my stash. Well, I did have to order a skein of this, and I might have to order one more, but I did have some in my stash. Anyway, these are my 4 colors, I think. Another option is, instead of doing this olive green, I could do this navy blue, but I think with this orange and this shale green, it doesn't look quite right. So I think it's coming across a little bit darker on camera now that the sun is setting. It's a little bit brighter in person, but I think this is my color palette. I think it's very lovely. So I've already started with the lightest color, which, by the way, is... I'll have linked these colors down below. It doesn't say the names, just the numbers. So this is clue 1. This is all it is so far. You know, it was really nice to have a very relaxing knit in a mystery knit along, because normally MCALs, there's tons of stuff to do. So this was kind of nice to just have something simple. I figured it would be, because she did say in like the planning stage that this would be all garter stitch. So that's really nice. It's all just knitting stitches. And there's some yarn overs for the increases and stuff. But other than that, just knitting. And it's going to be a modular design. I can kind of see maybe where this is going to go. It's definitely quilt block inspired. So I could see this being the start of a quilt block. Anyway, at least that's what I'm hoping we'll achieve. But I think this is very lovely. I really think that this edging is very nice. It just looks fantastic. So since it's garter stitch, I had this little guy from Simply Serving on my right side just to mark what was the right side. But yeah, this has been nice and simple so far. So that's a little bit of progress. The next clue doesn't come out until the 12th, so I have to wait a little while. But this goes all the way through May, so there's plenty of time to do each section, which I think is nice. So this will be a project that I won't finish until May if I'm up to date. And I think I will be. So that's really nice. And I thought it would be cute to keep it in one of my project bags that I quilted and made for myself. This one is like a night garden theme. So there's moths and mushrooms, but I made this one for myself last year and I thought it would be suitable because it's all quilted. Okay, and speaking of quilts, I have started a crochet project for the first time in a long time. The last time that I crocheted, it was when I was pregnant with my daughter, and she will be 2 in July. I made a rainbow, the pattern was called the Rainbow Blanket by Milieu Crochet, and it was like a crochet rainbow shaped blanket out of some bamboo yarn. But I saw this pattern and I kind of was wanting to get back into crochet in general, but then this new pattern came out and I knew that this was it. So the pattern I am crocheting is called Quiet Sky, and of course I can't remember the name of the designer. She'll be on the screen and linked below. This is for the yarn, I'm using Barocco Vintage DK, which is like 50% or 55% acrylic, I think, and 45% wool. I haven't crafted with acrylic yarn in a long time, so I was worried that I was going to find it squeaky, because normally acrylic yarn gives me kind of like an icky feeling. It's just the squeaky kind. There's definitely acrylic yarn that doesn't squeak, but the last thing I made with acrylic, it like couldn't stop squeaking, so I had to stop the project. But this has been really nice and not squeaky, thankfully. So I have 6 colorways here, and I really like my palette. So I have this, which is just like the bright white. And then I have this color is called Mushroom, kind of like a beige. This one is called Chana Dal. Beautiful golden color. There's lots of sort of melange going on in the yarn that's not really showing up, but it's very lovely. This one I think is called Robin's Egg, and it's this pale ashy blue that I've been, like a coastal kind of blue that I've been very interested in recently. I have this green, which is called Fennel. And then the pink, which I actually can't remember what the pink's called. So, are you ready for this? Here is my first quilt block. How beautiful is this? It is so gorgeous. I haven't blocked this yet, but I have woven in all the ends. And I will say, using this pattern to get back into crochet has been really nice, because something that I struggled with in crochet, because before I started knitting, I crocheted, but I struggled with reading crochet patterns and I found that they are written much differently from knitting patterns, and they kind of don't hold your hand quite as much, but often they include pictures, which is nice. So this one does have pictures, and I just had to kind of read it and play with it a few times before I got it, and now I feel like I'm a pro. Like, I might not even have to look at the pattern anymore to make each block. So I'll have to make 25 of these in different color assortments, and thankfully it's join as you go. So each of the little blocks are joining together at, kind of at once, so that way you end with like this finished piece. The only thing I haven't done is my little single crochet border around the square yet, but I need to go in and do that. But I think it's beautiful, so I'm very excited to see this come together. I think my color palette makes it really fun. So this is my first one done. I am working on my second one. I haven't worked on this since I got back from Nashville because I haven't had a chance, but I'm working on one that uses the green and the white and the robin's egg. The only thing is, with this initial one, I don't know how or why, but I didn't tighten up my magic ring right there, and so it's kind of, there's a big hole, but you know what? It's a blanket. It doesn't matter. But yeah, this has been really fun to crochet, and if you can believe it, this is actually my first time making granny squares. So even though I've crocheted all kinds of stuff, I have never done a granny square. I can't say that anymore, but yeah, I'm really pleased with the process. The only complaint that I have about this pattern is she gives you all of the details for making this center square and then these half and half triangles. But then for the corner blocks, they are just little single colored granny squares. And she pretty much just says, make a granny square. Which for me, I've kind of reverted back to sort of like an advanced beginner crocheter. That to me wasn't very helpful because I had never made a granny square, but I kind of just considered everything I had done in these ones and just sort of applied that knowledge without sort of the short row shaping, if you will, with making the triangle. Anyway, that's what I'm working on, and I recently I showed this last time, but I got this huge project bag from Fat Squirrel Fibers. I wasn't really sure what I would do with it, but this project is perfect. Oh, and then I've been holding this whole time and haven't shown you. I also got my first Furls crochet hook. It is absolutely stunning. So it's a beautiful, ocean green, I don't know, very aquatic mermaid-esque with this gold glitter, and it's a 4mm or a size G, but it's very beautiful. It makes me think of these paintbrushes I used to buy. I still have a good collection of them because I am a watercolor painter, and I used to get these brushes. I can't remember who makes them, but the line is called Neptune. Anyway, it's the same kind of this greeny jade looking plastic. But having this has been making crocheting extra fun. Okay, I think that's all of my works in progress. I have my cross-stitching piece here next to me. This was the first ever cross-stitch I started on, but I don't think I've made progress since I last showed it. Might still be worth seeing in case you didn't catch my last episode and you're curious. I cannot wait to get back to this. I got very invested in making that little chicken that I showed you, so I didn't work on this for a while, but now I'll be working on this again. Oh, I do have one more work in progress. I just cast it on right before I sat down to record. I just started a test knit for Bella of 100 Acre Wool. She's here on YouTube and Instagram. She has the most beautiful knitwear designs. She's just, I love all of the stuff that she makes. So beautiful. She is doing a test knit right now for her new brioche beret. It's called the Today Beret. And I was very excited that she picked me to test knit when I applied. So I don't really have anything to show you here, but Again, I just cast on. I'm very excited. I have until April 8th, I think, to complete this. And some people already have it done. So this will be a fast one. But it's kind of fun. It's 3 strands of yarn. She, of course, used Nutden for her sample. But I am using a skein of sport weight yarn that I've had in my stash. It's one of the first yarns I ever dyed. It wasn't something I could sell. And I think it's because I accidentally snipped it or something. So it's been just sitting in my stash and I'm finally using it, but it's kind of like a mauve with a little bit of cream and some charcoal. And then this is my wood fire clay on lace silk mohair. So I'm holding these 3 strands. So 1 strand of the sport weight and 2 strands of the silk mohair. I'm pulling from the inside and outside of the cake. And hopefully that doesn't end up in a tangle. I did a little swatch and I loved the way that these yarns looked together. The only thing is I'm kind of not really feeling the charcoal element, but I'm going to keep going with it anyway because I think overall, like from a distance, more of that like brick rose kind of color is going to come through. So anyway, I'll of course share more of this as I work on it, but I only have a few rows. I did the 1x1 Italian tubular cast on, and I'm doing the twisted rib section right now before going up my needle size and starting on the brioche portion, which I'm very excited about because I now just love brioche knitting. Okay, so I do have some stuff to show you guys. I have some gifts that I received, and then I have some yarn that I purchased. We can start with the Nutden that's right behind me. This is my first time buying Nutden, which is Honorrocker. This is Nutden, which is their yarn line, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's an unspun yarn. This is the first time I ever attempted to catch an update because I carry the Wool Dreamers Manchalope here in my shop, and I think it's so beautiful. So I wasn't really like emotionally invested in getting this, but there have been some patterns that have come out recently that I kind of thought I would like to maybe knit. And this colorway, I should just grab it. This colorway really stole my heart. It is beautiful. So it's overall a pink, like my favorite color of pink, really. But if you look closely, there's these little tiny like speckles of scarlet and a little bit of charcoal. So actually it's going to look very, very similar to this. So these could work cohesively. Of course, this is deeper in color, but this is like a muted version of that. So I got 300 grams of this, and I'm hoping that'll be enough for a project. The pattern that I was thinking I would want to make with this is the Hygge pullover by Bella of 100 Acre Wool, but that pattern is still in testing. So I wasn't sure how much I would need, and I didn't want to overbuy, so I figured I would get 300 grams, and if it turns out this isn't enough, I will use this for a vest of some kind, I think. And if it is enough, then great. So yeah, that's 300 grams. They sent it in like various plates, but and I haven't weighed it, but it is 300 grams. So I'm excited about those. I think the colors are beautiful. And then I have some yarn from Coast to Coast yarn. A couple of months ago, like maybe January, Erin did a pre-order for her Fantasy Coffee House collection yarns, and I couldn't pass it up because I have been recently into browns. I've talked about this at length recently, but brown and pink and green, those are like my 3, like they sing to me at this point. And then to mix in like a fantasy coffee house sort of, I don't know, element, I was just in love with the whole idea. So I got sweater quantities of 2 colorways. They're both gorgeous, and narrowing down what to pick was very hard, but I just got mine, so I will show you. They're just beautiful. So this colorway is called The Usual, you know, like your usual go-to at a coffee house. And yeah, the lighting now is not doing it justice. It's a little bit more beige and cream in person. If I hold it back, maybe you can see it better. But then what she I think is known for are her really nice speckles. So there's these beautiful brown speckles all over it. So I think with this one, I am going to make a bibliophile pullover by Alicia Plummer. It's sort of like a turtleneck kind of like more of a close fitted. I think it's a raglan. It's very beautiful. So I'm going to make this one and just like mixing book and coffee vibes. I think it'll be really nice. And then this one is called Claw, K-L-A-H, and it is a reference to something I have not read. It's a book. I'm not familiar with it, but I do know that a lot of people enjoy it. I don't even know what the book is. If you know, let me know, because I would probably enjoy it since it has coffee involved in some way, but it's really beautiful. And so this one is like a brown, but it has all of these beautiful toffee copper speckles, and there's the cream elements, and they are just so soft. I didn't mention, but these are her 100% superwash extra fine merino fingering weight, so they're 437 yards to 100 grams. So these are just pure ultra soft merino and very lovely. I'm super excited about making something with this. I can't decide which one I will make the bibliophile out of, but one of these will be that. Yeah, I think that'll look nice. And then last but certainly not least, my very good friend Lindsay, who owns Simply Serving on Etsy, she and I did a little gift exchange recently. So she blew it out of the water. I made her a project bag. I'll insert a picture. I was very proud of it. I really enjoyed picking out fabrics that I thought that she would enjoy. So it was really special putting together that project and like thinking about her the whole time and just making something I thought she would truly love. And yeah, as far as I know, she loves it. So that makes me very happy. And in return, she sent me the most amazing gift ever. And I'm going to share those things with you guys. Not because she asked me to or anything, but because they're such treasures and I want to show you. And Lindsay, if you're watching, thank you so very much. I'm very excited. In fact, I'm wearing 2 of them as earrings, so I'll take them out and show you in a second. But as you guys may know, Stardew Valley is something that I love more than a lot of things. I've been playing it since it came out and I just absolutely adore it. So Lindsay has recently been into Stardew as well. I actually watched her stream it. I watched her stream it once. So she, being inspired, came out with a little Stardew Valley collection. And so here we have, she is a clay charm sculptor, if you didn't know. She does other things as well, but that is like what she's known for. So we have the blue chicken. We have the void chicken, which is a black chicken. They lay void eggs. We've got this. I think this is called a star drop. Now I can't remember. It's been a little while since I got a chance to play. And then in my ears, I have, so she sent it on the leatherback clasps that work really well as earrings. And so I have this chicken. It's the white chicken. This one's my favorite. And then here I have the duck, which you can get once you upgrade to the large coop. And I'm not surprised at all, but I'm just amazed at how well she captured like the actual, the illustration. They have come to life so well here in these charms. This feels really special. And then I was just going to show, I have this prismatic shard charm from Nerdy Knits. Oops, showing you the wrong side. And so now I have a whole collection of Stardew Valley charms, and I feel very spoiled. But then I also have this crochet hook. How amazing is this? She does different kinds of crochet hooks, but when she showed me a picture of this, I just about lost my mind. So I feel very honored that she sent this to me. And there's a little egg, the removable stitch marker that she's included on the little chicken too. And she builds them around hooks. So this one's a 5mm hook. It's so special. So I feel very spoiled and very fortunate. I'm just so excited to use all the things. I'm going to make Oakwood Knits Kim her Stardew Valley socks. I'm like halfway done with the patterns. This year I want to finish them. So I have all kinds of little charms to go with those patterns. And I kind of have some other like Stardew Valley themed projects I want to do this year, since I'm seeing the show. But anyway, that's that. Okay, so wow, it's like getting dark. I managed to record this whole thing. I'm pretty shocked. I'm glad I got it done in one piece so that I wouldn't have to worry about finding the time again. Yeah, so I guess I don't really have time to say much else, but I will say, again, I have my Azucena kits available in my website, at least at the time of recording this. I'm very excited for spring. I'm planning on making some like vlogs this year for spring because it's my favorite season, and I definitely want to show you guys the garden since we just finished our pond and we're getting our ducks. So I've been planting all kinds of stuff. I've been starting a lot of seeds, and yeah, just lots and lots of gardening stuff to look forward to. I do have a yarn show coming up. So every year I vend at the Great Smoky Mountain Fiber Fair, which is in Townsend, Tennessee. So April, I think it's 18th and 19th or 19th and 20th. It's the Friday and Saturday. I'll make sure to have dates below and on my website and everything. But I will be vending in Townsend, Tennessee, which is close to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. So if you happen to be in that area, I hope you'll come to the show. There's lots of great vendors who come. It's a really fun time. It's like it's a medium-sized show. So there's plenty of space to shop, and it's a very comfortable and quaint little show. But yeah, I hope to see you guys then. My storefront will be closed during that time because I will be there with all of my stuff. So just an FYI. And then after that, when we get back, the following weekend will be local yarn store day. So yeah, we've got a lot on our plate those couple of weeks. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys out for local yarn store day here at the shop. I will also try to do something online like I usually do. And then the following weekend for May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day, I'm going to have a Star Wars party at the shop. So I hope that one of those dates, those 3 weekends, hopefully I will see some of you guys then during that time. And I definitely want to say thank you to the very many people who have been traveling to visit the shop recently. We've always had travelers, and I think that's amazing. But here recently, we've had even more people from all over the United States. Honestly, it's amazing who walks through the door, and I just love getting to know everybody. And I love my job and I love my business, so I just really appreciate you guys very much. Yeah, I'm gonna close it off there, and again, I look forward to recording some vlogs soon. I guess keep an eye on my website for all of the cross-stitch stuff that I'll have coming to the shop. I got lots of patterns, and if I had more time, I would talk about that experience maybe next time. I do have a stitch along coming up. We won't officially announce it yet, but there will be a stitch along, and it will be collaborative with a floss tuber. Can't wait. So anyway, I'll share more details and we'll get you excited about that later. So I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in today. I hope that you'll take a second to like and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, and that's that. So bye.